Have you ever wondered why two people can grow up in the same neighborhood, go to the same school, have access to the same opportunities, and yet one ends up wealthy while the other struggles financially their entire life? The difference almost never comes down to luck. It comes down to something far more powerful, the way they think. And today, we are going to break down exactly what separates a rich mindset from a poor mindset, and more importantly, which one you actually have right now. Stay with me because halfway through this video, I am going to share something that most people never realize about their own thinking patterns, and it might genuinely change the way you approach every single financial decision you make from this point forward. Let us start with something that catches most people off guard. The rich mindset and the poor mindset are not about how much money you currently have in your bank account. You can be broke and have a rich mindset. You can be a millionaire and still think like someone who is perpetually poor. This is about the mental frameworks you use to navigate the world, and those frameworks are silently shaping every outcome in your life whether you are aware of them or not. The first major difference is how each mindset sees money itself. People with a poor mindset treat money like it is something that exists in limited supply and is constantly slipping through their fingers. They talk about money as though it is the enemy. You have probably heard phrases like money does not grow on trees, or rich people are just greedy. These beliefs feel protective on the surface, but they are actually deeply limiting. When you subconsciously believe that money is scarce and that wanting more of it makes you a bad person, you will unconsciously sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. The rich mindset, on the other hand, sees money as a tool. It is not good or bad. It is neutral. And like any tool, its value depends entirely on how you use it. Someone with a rich mindset does not feel guilty about wanting financial success because they understand that money gives them options, freedom, and the ability to create real impact in the world. Now here is where things get really interesting. The second major difference is how each mindset responds to failure. This one is absolutely critical. When someone with a poor mindset fails at something, a business, an investment, a new skill, the internal narrative becomes deeply personal. They tell themselves they are not smart enough, not talented enough, not lucky enough. Failure becomes an identity. And once failure becomes part of who you are, you stop trying. Why risk embarrassment again? But watch what happens inside a rich mindset when failure occurs. The story changes completely. Failure becomes information. It becomes feedback. Every setback is treated like a lesson that brings them one step closer to figuring out what actually works. This is not just motivational talk. Research consistently shows that people who view their abilities as something they can develop over time are far more likely to achieve long-term success than those who believe their talents are fixed at birth. The third difference is about time horizon. Here is a question for you. When you think about a financial decision, how far into the future are you thinking? A day? A week? A year? A decade? This single variable might be the most accurate predictor of financial outcomes that exists. Poor mindset thinking is almost entirely short-term. It asks questions like, how do I feel right now, and what can I get today? Rich mindset thinking operates on a completely different timeline. It constantly asks, what will this look like in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? This is why someone with a rich mindset can sacrifice comfort today for freedom tomorrow. They can delay buying something they want because they can literally feel and visualize the future benefit of investing that money instead. Their future self is vivid and real to them. For someone trapped in a poor mindset, the future feels vague and uncertain, so the present always wins. And this leads us directly into the fourth major difference, the relationship with learning. People with a poor mindset often secretly believe that formal education is where learning begins and ends. Once school is over, growing stops. People with a rich mindset are obsessively committed to continuous learning. They read books constantly. They study people who have built what they want to build. They invest real money into courses, mentors, and experiences because they understand that every dollar spent on expanding their knowledge and skills will return to them multiplied. Think about this for a second. The average CEO reads around 50 books per year. The average person reads fewer than 5. That gap in input creates an absolutely massive gap in output over time. The fifth difference is probably the most psychologically fascinating one, and I promised you we would get here. It is the difference between a responsibility mindset and a victim mindset. This is the one most people never want to confront in themselves because it requires genuine honesty. A victim mindset constantly searches the external world for explanations. The economy is rigged. My boss holds me back. My family never gave me the right connections. My city does not have enough opportunity. And listen, some of these things may actually be true. Real systemic barriers exist. That is not up for debate. But here is the critical point. Even when these barriers are real, the victim mindset uses them as a permanent excuse to stop trying, while a responsibility mindset uses them as context but refuses to let them define the destination. Someone with a rich mindset asks a fundamentally different question. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What can I do about this?" That shift from passive to active is not small. It is everything. It is the entire game. Now, here is something I want you to sit with for a moment. Nobody is born with one of these mindsets permanently locked in. These patterns were installed in you by your environment, your parents, your earliest experiences with money, and the stories you were told about what was possible for people like you. That means they can be uninstalled. That means you can choose something different. But choosing something different requires you to first identify your current default patterns honestly. So let me ask you directly. When a financial opportunity comes up, is your instinct excitement or fear? When you see someone else succeed, do you feel genuinely inspired or quietly bitter? When something goes wrong, do you ask, "What can I learn here?" or do you look for someone to blame? These responses reveal your current programming, and your programming reveals your future if you do not intervene. The path from a poor mindset to a rich mindset is not complicated, but it is uncomfortable because it requires you to take radical ownership of your results. It requires you to feed your mind differently every single day. It requires you to deliberately choose a longer time horizon even when everything inside you wants immediate relief. It requires you to reframe failure as tuition rather than punishment. The most powerful thing you can realize right now is this: wealthy people are not a different species. They do not have some biological advantage over you. They have simply developed a different operating system for processing the world, and operating systems can be updated. So the real question is not which mindset do you have, because now you know. The real question is which mindset are you going to build starting today? Because every single day you continue running the old program is another day you are leaving your potential untouched on the table. If this video sparked something in you, do not let that feeling fade. Go take one action right now that your future self will thank you for. Subscribe if you want more content that challenges how you think about money and success. And drop in the comments below, which mindset shift from today hit you the hardest?